Hey guys, Dadtries, and today I'm looking at DayZ. This one's this one's been out for a while. It dropped on Steam as a standalone version December of 2018, but there was originally a mod for ARMA II, which is where DayZ got its start. A lot of us have probably played that, and I mean that game was just way ahead of its time. I mean, I had a lot of fun playing that one. I've got a couple hundred hours into the standalone version of DayZ. But for whatever reason, the standalone version of DayZ that was originally brought about by Dean Rocket Hall, which I really still am a little sour about that, and I'm really only sour because he really just developed this game, did an alpha release, took our money, and then disappeared on us, and someone else took over development, and it really just never left the ground in that sense. It's kind of doomed from the start. So here we are. The mod was just so much better than the standalone game. The standalone game has been out now for 5.5 years, and it really is missing the mark where the mod for ARMA 2 was, and it will just always be my favorite disappointment, I think. So how'd this game come about? Back in 2013, on ARMA 2, there was a mod that came out, which was developed by Dean, quote-unquote, Rocket Hall. And it was a huge success. Probably the most popular thing about ARMA 2 back in the day was playing DayZ. There was just so many varieties of servers, different rule sets, RP servers. I mean, name it, it was out there, and it was a really good time. Everything ran very smoothly on that engine, and it was great. And it was so great that Bohemia gave Dean Hall his own team and studio to develop the standalone version of DayZ. Early access came out, and of course the game was really popular, so a bunch of us, like myself, jumped on it, bought the game, and were immediately disappointed from the start. I mean, the game has been nothing but bugs and issues since launch. It's missing still things that we had in 2013 on the mod. For instance, there are no helicopters. There are less weapons. The zombies are terrible. I'll talk about the zombies in a little bit. The loot is awful. I mean, on the vanilla servers, if you're not looting right after a server reset, I mean, it is barren. It's pretty bad. And I think that kind of breeds this toxic community of, if I'm going to survive, I need to kill players on site, and I'm not about that. It drives me nuts to just be shot in the back without any sort of social interaction whatsoever. I mean, I understand it's part of the game. It's just how it goes, but I can't help but think if they put a little bit more attention into the vanilla resource generation, that maybe people wouldn't suck so bad to play with. Or maybe they would. It is the internet we're talking about, so they might still suck. Performance-wise, the game's good. I mean, it runs great on my PC. I don't really have any significant frame drops. The game is beautiful looking. As far as the Steam Deck is concerned, it is listed as unsupported, and it does actually, you can install it. It will play. It will run. You're going to get about 20 to 30 frames on low settings with the Steam Deck, but the controls are a little bit jank, so not something I would absolutely recommend, but if you want to, have at it. So let's talk about the meat and potatoes of this game, right? The zombies. They're awful. They're just terrible. So if you get the attention of a zombie, it's going to look at you, it's going to shriek, and then it's going to sprint at you. And chances are it's going to run right through you, so you're going to have to do a complete 180 and then try and find it again and do some more swinging. You might be able to time your shot so that as it's running through you, you hit it once, and then you can spin around and try to finish it off. The hitboxes are pretty terrible, so if you're going for headshots with, say, a crowbar or a tire iron or something like that, good luck to you. It might work. It usually doesn't. I've snuck up behind zombies before and tried to hit them in the back of the head. It just doesn't work. Back in the old days on the mod, the melee weapons were actually a projectile weapon. It's just the projectile only went like a meter in front of you or whatever. So when you swung, it was actually like you could actually see like a bullet hole in the zombie. It was silly, but it was still better than what we have now. The combat with the zombies, the melee combat specifically, is terrible. And honestly, unless you absolutely have to, you should avoid it at all costs if you play this game, because you are not getting out without getting hit by a zombie of some sort. Really, the most effective way to kill zombies is to hide in a building and just kind of cheese them, because they'll just stand around the window and you can just hit them through the wall. And that's not the kind of polish that I'm looking for in a game that's been around for almost 6 years as a standalone, when the mod for ARMA II in 2013 was more polished than what we have here. I have a really hard time recommending this game, even though I have played it so much. It really does hold a special place in my heart. But if you are someone who played the mod and hasn't played the standalone, and you've been holding off and hoping maybe the standalone is going to get better, it's not. It's not going to get better. In fact, they've actually started talking about and have started already licensing some things to do with DayZ 2. And I'm absolutely going to play that game when it comes out, but I'm taking everything that it has with a grain of salt. I mean, they're going to need a complete rehaul. If they're going to win me back over as a player, they've got to do something really special, something that isn't delivered in other survival type games like this, because honestly, there's so many of them. I have no need to play DayZ. I just keep coming back because I want to see if it's gotten any better. I see the updates come across my feed on Steam, but every time I come back, I'm just disappointed again. I even went as far this time around to joining a private server. I went through their whitelisting process, and I joined an RP server. And, well, that server happened to be a European server, and when I come around to play, there's like 3 people online total, and that's not the experience I was looking for either. It's hard to enjoy an RP server when there's only a handful of folks out there, and chances are you're not going to see them at all. So take that with a grain of salt too. It's really not up to snuff. It's not something I would recommend you play. There's a lot of other options out there. Pass this one up. Wait to see what DayZ 2 looks like, but I don't know. I'm not holding my breath for that game either. And especially this game, as it is, full price, you're looking at this. They're asking $45 for this, and it's just not there. It's incomplete. I don't think it'll ever be complete. And it's really only fun and worth playing if kind of 2 conditions, I guess. 1, make a private server for you and your friends, because the community's terrible. And 2, get a bunch of mods, because mods are really the only thing that make this game playable. Vanilla is just not a very good experience. So as long as you're okay with doing those couple of things, avoiding the community and modding the crap out of the game, then sure, it's great. If you're a console gamer, if you're gonna play this on the Xbox, no, absolutely not. It is not worth it. Spend your $45 elsewhere. I can't believe they're charging $45 for this nonsense still, and I feel bad for anybody who buys it.
Oh.
Just don't. And that's it. Hope you have a great rest of your day.